I'm Colby Melton, an SDI student enrolled in FTH 202 Revolvers course. My professor is Dr. D. Today's date is the 20th of April, 2024, and this is my Module 5 assignment. Part 1 of the assignment, identify some of the areas that you'll check during a check of the revolver and the concerns with them. Like R.K. Campbell talks about in last week's module in the article, it's good to have a checklist. That's always first thing. First thing, safety. Make sure the firearm's safe. You don't want to shoot yourself or your buddy. Be aware of your muzzle, everything like that. Basic rules apply. During your whole inspection, you'll always look at cleanliness because it can affect how your the overall accuracy and just the performance of the firearm. Going from the top of the revolver and around, you're going to look at the sights, make sure they're in good working order, not damaged, bent. It can show you that it's been dropped or something like that, but it also could show you that it just degrade accuracy. You're going to look at the crown. The crown shouldn't be burred, damaged, or anything. If it is, it may have to be reshaped. You can check the bore itself. Shouldn't be any inconsistencies, pitting, or rust. And you can use a barrel twist rate measurement to look at this for the bore. Next, you're going to look at the actual forcing cone. If it's damaged, cracked, or anything, it can affect accuracy or even be dangerous to shoot. Barrel fit to the actual frame. Next, you're going to look at the cylinder. Rotates freely, locks up, latch works. Just the basic functions of that. Check the chambers, make sure there's no bulging or anything like that. And your ejector rod works. Your your extractor rod and extractor ring work. Your ratchet's good. It's not damaged or anything. Check the yoke. Make sure lockup is nice. And that the back of the cylinder doesn't wobble or anything. Should be no gap, excessive gap there or anything. We check the forcing cone. Next, you'll check the cylinder gap in between the cylinder and the forcing cone. And then you check, get another measurement, pulling it back slightly to get the end shake. You want to make sure those are within compliance because it can be dangerous if they're not. Next, you're going to check the hand function. Does it turn the cylinder in the single action and the double action mode? Is there lockup of the actual cylinder? Next is the hammer. Does it lock in the back position? Does it rest? Does it work when it's coming forward? What does the surface of the hammer look like? Is there any hammer wobble? All the stuff that could affect the actual function of the weapon or add to the trigger pull or may not be safe. It may indicate that the sear surfaces have been cut and aren't safe anymore. You want to check the trigger, make sure it functions in double action and also functions in the single action. You can do a trigger pull to make sure that the double action's at least an 8-pound trigger pull and the 4-pound safety, 4-pound trigger pull for the single action, just because that's what's recommended is safe. Check the grip, make sure it's on there firmly. You don't want it to come off or the revolver or fall out of it and hurt somebody, or you don't want it to cut somebody's hand or anything like that. Next, you check the finish. The finish of the side plates stuff can tell you if somebody's been working on it. They may not have been doing quality job, or the fasteners might tell you the type of gunsmith that worked on it before. You're going to do your functions checks. The 3 on the with dry, the 3 on single action, and the 3 on the double action. You're also filling the drag while you're doing it. Then you can do it again with the dummy rounds. This might tell you if there's any timing or lockup issues and stuff like that. You're going to open it up, look at the internal parts, make sure they're all there and working properly and function together. And then last, you're going to do your headspace. When you put it in, you should be able to close on it, the cylinder, and then it should be able to move freely all the way through. If you're that's for your go gauge, and your double action gauge for your no-go gauge, it shouldn't be able to close on it. And then if you slide it back and take it through, it should get stuck right here on the back side. And you're going to check every chamber for go and no-go. Part 2 of the assignment was to identify 10 learning experiences from the course. I'm going to give the number and then give the experience, why it was a learning experience, and my plan to strengthen points in the future. Number 1 was double action and single action revolver internal operations and parts. I'd never disassembled a revolver before. is why this was a learning experience, and to see how they actually worked inside. And to strengthen this point, I'm just going to disassemble a single action revolvers here in the near future, and then continue to disassemble some different models of double action ones and some more single action ones. Number 2 is the internal safety systems. I was aware of how the transfer bar worked, but I never really had a good explanation or description given for the hammer block safety, pound slider, or the hammer stops. I think to improve this, I'm just going to have to get some more hands-on handling the weapon, different models and stuff, and disassemble some of those revolvers with the other functions. Number 3 is health inspections. Cool concept, but I never really had given it much thought about making a checklist and stuff like that. And I think the key to it is just to do as R.K. Campbell identified, and that's to make a checklist and make some notes for different revolver types and to use the checklist. Number 4 is the function check, checks, the 3 types. Yes, I was familiar with functions checks, but I never knew how they applied to revolver, or how to like drag the finger or make it drag to check like cylinder lockup and drag and stuff like that, to check timing and stuff. And I think this is just something I'm going to have to continue to do and keep it as part of like a health inspections moving forward. Number 5 was the barrel twist, measuring the barrel twist. And this seems kind of trivial, because today you can get most barrel twists off the internet or stuff, or they're in the owner's manual. But the revolver platform is an old platform, and there may be some models out there that the barrel twist isn't readily available for, or somebody may have changed out the barrel and stuff. It also shows the inconsistencies when you measure it as to whether something's wrong with the bore or something like that, like a bulge or something like that. So this is just something I'm going to have to incorporate into the health checks. Check the measurement for the cylinder gap and the end shake. I've read about this stuff, but never actually seen a video or was given an actual explanation. Now I know to use filler gauges. I bought some filler gauges. I think moving forward, I just have to incorporate this into the health checks. Number 7, how to check the timing. This is done with the functions check basically, but you're also checking the lockup and the actual hand and stuff like that. Really wasn't familiar with the actual timing of a revolver. I've heard about it, but they always made it seem like it was complicated, like the inside of a watch or something. This is just something I'm going to have to be conscious of moving forward with functions checks and stuff like that. Number 8 is how to check the headspace. Will it close on the actual headspace gauge going up, or will it go all the way through the frame and get caught there? And then the go gauge and no go gauge, and just doing it for every chamber. I'd done head spacing before, but just not for a revolver. I just need to get some more hands-on with this one. Number 9 is the extractor rod runoff, using the paper method and stuff like this. It's easy to think about and like, hey, is that wobbling? But using the paper method or something, putting it down and having a reference point just kind of makes sense. It's something I can continue to check. Additionally, I didn't know that it could be repaired. My idea was, you just get a new extractor rod. Number 10 is how to tune a revolver in terms of a trigger job. Just making sure, polishing all the side surfaces and the side plates and reducing the springs. Something I read about, nothing I'd ever done, and it's a skill that I can take forward, and hopefully I get to do some more trigger jobs to further these. Part 3, some unique features found on a double action revolver like the Taurus 856. First, you have side plates. Side plates were probably introduced on double action revolvers so that you could open it up and get all the parts fitted in there correctly. They weren't on single action revolvers, but most things, a small hole in the frame. Next, you have the grips. The grips are the clay-shaped squeeze instead of the old bell bottom like talked about in module 1 or 2, and this just get a firmer grip on it, mitigate some of the recoil. Next, you have the hammer rest surface and the internal firing pin and the transfer bar. The hammer rest surface, that little cutout underneath it, allows it to rest in the frame without contacting the firing pin. Firing pin's in the frame for reliability instead on the hammer where it could become damaged or get stuck in the last. You have the transfer bar, which bridges the gap in between the hammer and the firing pin to allow the energy to be transferred to the thing. And if for some reason the hammer falls without the trigger being pulled, it'll drop in the gap, making it impossible for the hammer to touch the firing pin.